Hello, Mystic Travelers, and welcome to Qabalistic Astrology. So this week we're going to be talking about Mercury Conjunct True North Node in Pisces. So this is a planetary conjunction, and this is actually the third and final phase of a triple conjunction arc. Mercury was direct on February 11th in Pisces, and then March 17th in retrograde. And so now on March 23rd, it's, Mercury has gone direct again. And so this has a lot to do with like forward motion and the resolution of kind of like a karmic trilogy in your life. So think about what was going on for you a little earlier in this month and what kind of conclusions are going to be coming up in your life around that. And we'll explore that more, of course, through tarot and through the Qabalistic tree. But let's go ahead and get our initial cards laid out. Okay. So, first of all, this has a lot to do with destiny, the collective being guided towards more like compassionate intelligence. So, the tarot correspondence for this in the Tree of Life is the moon. The moon. Which is the path of illusion towards the intuitive truth. And then our secondary card is going to be the Magician, which represents Mercury. And this is mind as conscious creator. So together it's more like, think of it like the Magician walking through the landscape of the moon. And so for Kabbalah, the Tree of Life pathways is Qoph, which is Netzach to Malkuth, and which is like the subconscious emotional patterns descending into lived reality. So it's sort of like how in your life, are there things in your life that you're doing, behaviors you have that don't really make sense to you? So that's your subconscious emotional patterns manifesting into reality. And then the second one is the path of Beth, which is Kether to Binah, which is the divine descending into structured understanding. So, wow, what a balance, right? This makes a lot of sense, right? Because we're talking about your subconscious emotional patterns, how they are manifesting in your life and you might not even realize it, and the transformation into divine, so like basically your intuition descending into this reality. So, whew, that's a lot, right? So let's start looking at your cards. We have the Lovers. Oh my, 7 of Wands. So, I'm just going to go ahead and flip these. Yeah, there's a lot of energy going on here about so this is an idea of like things are not, you're not going to be thinking as logically. This is that idea of the Magician moving through the landscape of the moon, right? So you're not necessarily going to be thinking clearly because Pisces isn't always logical, right? So think a lot about that dreams might be containing guidance for you, revisiting past misunderstandings. You might get hyper fixated on past love connections or wrongs done to you in the past, and you want to dissolve that long-standing pain and resolve things because this is a call to be realigned with divine flow and not be caught in your head so that you can come back to a space of curiosity, to a space of nurturing, to a place of friendship and rest. Okay? So there's going to be a lot of profound inner shifts. And with this ace here, we're talking about creative downloads. Okay. And if you feel like you've been in sort of a situation with someone lately where you have had misunderstandings and stuff, now would be a good time to soften whatever tension is there. You need to spend more time in silence because your nervous system could easily be fried after this karmic arc, right? So who's going to feel it the most? Probably Pisces and Virgo, because they're the opposition axis, and then Gemini and Sagittarius, especially 5 to 12 degrees of the mutable signs. Alrighty. So 10 of Swords energy. That kind of makes a lot of sense. 2 of Cups. Okay. So the distortion of these pathways on the tree and of this alignment in the sky would be make sure that as this spirituality, like these subconscious messages coming from your, your unconscious mind into reality, and you're transmuting that from intuition into reality. Make sure you do not cling onto any victim narrative, or using spirituality to avoid the responsibilities of the real world. Because remember, in the tree, we're not talking about just living in Kether or spirit. We're talking about how we have to transmute our way through the tree like a circulation system, and that we have to embody our spirituality. If not, then it's distorted. And when it's distorted, it comes on as unconscious shadow patterns, right? So another distortion would be confusion, right? Pain, confusion, nightmares, misinterpreting what's going on, or spiritual bypass. So that would be, rather than facing stuff, you would be, worried about, oh, well, this sort of broken-hearted victim mentality energy. But you've got to face your shadow, right? You've got to face your shadow. This is what this is inviting you to do. The universe is trying to train you in sacred listening. And we get tired of it because it can feel very sharp sometimes, right? It can feel very, very sharp. But remember, not all truths are sharp. The sharpness has to do with what perception we have. But with this Hanged Man energy, if you're able to, flip your perception, which is what Mercury is inviting you to do right now, and what these pathways are inviting you to do, then, the light expressions of these things are being compassionate, karmic resolutions. And with this being a karmic, trifecta, I can live in the moment, letting go of karmic loops, right? Allowing your inner knowledge to guide you instead of these subconscious patterns. So it's the difference between impulse and intuition. So on one pathway we're talking about with this, it's very impulsive. And on one pathway we're talking about very intuitive. So yeah, use your inner knowing. And you'll know because you'll feel it in your heart, right? And so that since this is the third and final pass of this triple conjunction arc, it really has to do with moving forward, resuming forward notion. Pisces is going to dissolve your ego. It's not going to be fun if you let it. And sometimes people won't let it, and they'll just want to cling to the ego. But ego boundaries need to be dissolved sometime so that you can have these deep realizations. This is course correcting behavior. And with it being in Pisces, you're asking yourself, can my mind, especially with this correlation with the tree, can my mind serve my soul instead of my ego? And the understanding, can I live in the moment, that destiny moves through words and actions, not just through thoughts. I mean, it starts as thoughts, but you have to live in the moment in order to truly live this energy, right? So with a true north node, we're talking about karmic trajectory, evolutionary pull. So that's where we're talking about this moment for you to close out a karmic cycle, to surrender, to release any rigidity around this, especially with the mutable modality. So this is what I have for you this week. Good luck. You've got this. Live in the moment. Don't get mired down in this swords energy. Remember that being the magician walking through the moonscape, the magician is not going to get stuck in the confusion, because the magician's going to transmute it. The magician is alchemy. This is your alchemy. All right, I will see you next week.